Hey there, and welcome back to the Second Lunch Podcast. Me, Chris Moran. I am your host with my co-host, Kolpy. I got laughed at today on my way here. I do have to say I'm a man that's on a little bit of a rampage in terms of using the carpool lane. It's only to come here. Because Lake Stevens to Seattle, it's just too far to
I'm there
follow
in spirit.
the law the entire... that's insane. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm being a criminal right now. I understand. I understand how this sounds, but it all started. I wasn't going to do it today. I was looking at my ETA and it's like, okay, I'll make it in time, which I do this every time though. But today, what specifically set me off was I was in Stop and Go in Everett next to a commuter bus, and I was rocking hard to some Architects, the new album, and full like shower mode, like pretending to scream into a microphone and drumming on the steering wheel, all the stuff.
Yeah, screaming into a flip-flop.
And I look over, and I'm going to say it was an entire bus of people. I know that it was two people, but they were separate. They weren't sitting next to each other. It was one person and then the person in front of them.
Independently observed.
Yeah, exactly. By two separate
like
people.
They're on safari.
Yeah. And so that's when I said, well, I simply have to go faster.
Yeah, it's not often that you're like, I have to show myself out when you're in a separate vehicle. Yeah. It's a harder thing to pull off than...
I also usually don't care if people see me or I wouldn't do it. I mean, I understand that my car has windows. I know that people...
You weren't under some delusion.
Yeah.
You still have object permanence.
Yeah, but usually they aren't laughing at me. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to say they're laughing at me. I'm going to say I was spreading joy. And they were simply...
Fellow Architects fans.
Yeah, they were, their laughter was pure joy, just seeing me happy. I think that's what it had to be.
They're trying to lift you up here.
Oh, boy, I also almost died today. Too much caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
I had, 1 cup of coffee, I'm like, I feel alert and rested.
Yeah.
2 cups of coffee, I'm like, I am having a heart attack. Right now, I'm not shaking because I'm caffeinated. I am trembling because I'm on the verge of death. And I would be calling 911 if I wasn't actively shitting my pants.
See, my level of irritation there gets extremely high. So, first cup of coffee, okay. Second cup of coffee, I've had enough of all of this shit.
Is it just coffee for you? Like, is it caffeine?
Yeah, it's well, I mean cocaine too, but that's well in the rear view mirror of history.
I've never touched that. My heart would explode the second that goes in my nose.
Admittedly, I didn't get the same irritable rage with the cocaine, but coffee, yeah, for sure.
I had somebody offer me an energy drink a couple weeks ago, and I declined because I didn't feel like having an aneurysm that day.
Yeah, you didn't want the palpitations to...
Yeah, I was like, I'm way too big. Like, I can't go out because of an energy drink.
Diet rockstar.
I treat an energy drink with the same amount of caution that I treat a loaded fucking gun. Because I would sooner play Russian roulette than I would take a Red Bull to the ticker. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, Red Bull, too, is like, pedestrian 90s invention. Like, some of this shit is...
nuclear.
Absolutely more dangerous than the cocaine I was talking about. Have you ever heard of Red Line?
No.
Like Red Line on the bottle, and of course like 4-point font that you need like a goddamn jeweler's loop to read. It says to only drink half the bottle. And the bottle's, like 4 ounces.
Oh, it's safe when it comes with a dosage.
Yeah, absolutely. A dosage, very good point. And also just obvious plausible deniability where it's like, oh, if I die of a heart attack, they're going to point to that and go, welp, he drank 60%
Yeah,
of it.
not even Four Loko has to do that.
No, you'll be unconscious before. That was the one decent component of that invention was that you could turn into that sort of living zombie. Yeah. Like the blackouts that I would experience today, I would probably be asleep, whereas Four Loko, you will continue moving for some amount of time. Yeah. You will dance after
just sugar alone. Even if you are unconscious, your body has to keep moving. It's got to burn it.
You'll be dancing after the song's ended, whether you know it or not.
Four Loko was made by big diabetes. They just had to get, how can we get as much sugar into these people?
Yeah, the first time I ever, threw up and blacked out from drinking was the predecessor to Four Loko, actually, Juice. JOOSE. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Never heard of that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
10%. So in fairness, it wasn't as strong as the Four Loko. But
Was it a giant can like Four Loko?
enormous? Yeah, just like one of those artillery rounds. Yeah, 24 ounces of malt liquor, and yeah, drank like 4 of those in like an hour and a half, and next thing I know, I'm throwing up on an elementary school.
Fucking yeah.
Yeah,
Where else would you throw up?
that's
Can't throw up in a bush. Let me find a school real quick.
yeah, exactly. At least I didn't do it like on the playground. It was merely like on the edifice. You know, it wasn't. They can.
It was one of the kids.
Yeah, they're not. Really, the kid ate 4 chicken quesadillas. It's an elementary school. You know that, sir.
When I started, I always thought alcohol was gross because I was one of those people. I didn't start drinking until I was almost 21. Outside of when my parents would have margarita nights when I was like 6, and they would like be showing people to the door, and I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm having some margarita. I'm having the bottom of like 6 margaritas." And so the first thing I drank, one of my friends was like, "I bet you I can give you something that'll taste really good," and it was a watermelon Four Loko.
Oh my god!
And as soon as I took a sip, I said, "We're going back in, and we're getting 3 more." And I'm a big boy, so I didn't barf. I just never barf. It's also my least favorite thing in the world. I wish I could. I wish I could like you do. I've never seen somebody puke and rally. Like
this was
you.
not a puke and rally. This was not an instance of like, oh, my tummy was upset, and then I continued. Yeah, this was a person on the verge of the hospital. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that was also a 16-year-old frame. Like, didn't drink at all at the time. You know, really. And then 185 pounds compared to now. It's like
I didn't barf, but I
destined for
did
failure.
drink all 3 and start crying about my ex-girlfriend. So
That's natural, though. That's basically on the label that's going to
I just
happen
wish
to
I
you.
knew someone who would understand me.
You know who understands you? Mad Dog 2020. Did we talk about this already? Did you know that Mad Dog is not the real name? Did we talk about this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's MD does not stand for Mad Dog. That's some like nom de plume that people rightfully gave to it. It's like Mogan Davis. Who the fuck is Mogan Davis?
Oh,
I would name it Mad Dog too if it was. I mean, enough Mad Dog will leave you feeling a little bit Mogan Davis, but yeah. Anyways, that I think kind of fucked my day up.
Fucked up enough, and was just the letters got all.
That would be like,
and they're like, well, Mad Dog, yeah.
That would be like finding out that Mountain Dew, like the MD stands for, you know. I didn't even come up with one for this. Mickey Davis.
Yeah, Mickey Davis. Yeah,
this isn't very good.
Sounds good to me.
I feel like we had something to talk about Mountain Dew related, though.
Oh, it's coming up. I don't remember what it is, but I know we'll get there.
Well, since I already brought it up, though, let's talk about it because
right.
we segue naturally. I can tell you what it is. It's a what up with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's do. Yeah, it is. What's up with that? A little early for this segment. Well, let's jump right into it. What is up with that? I'll let you do this one because this is yours.
I will. I'll serve this one up for you. So, what's up with that? Mountain Dew being described as a citrus soda. What kind of citrus?
That's a really good point. Mountain citrus, clearly. Because I've never seen an orange or lemon tree in a fucking mountain.
No, it's a really...
What other citrus is there?
It's extremely odd branding when you consider the conditions on a mountain and the conditions needed to grow like fucking any citrus in the world.
Right. I also wonder if the green was on purpose.
It definitely sets it apart. I'm guessing when it came out in like the 50s, that had to have been the only green soda in town. If they were...
I always forget Mountain Dew's that old, man.
Yeah, they have the
You
old
look at
Prospector.
Mountain Dew and I'm like, that's the 1990s.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
Yeah, that's a skateboard going right into the Rosie O'Donnell set.
And I can't even picture a person in the 1950s seeing that.
Like
they saw Elvis and they're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Like
green soda? They were...
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that like you would just assume that Mountain Dew didn't predate the Civil Rights Act, but it does. You know that people were drinking Mountain Dew before like the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan.
Shit, dude, you think Malcolm X ever had a Dew?
It's
never thought about that before.
I mean, that'll turn you into a revolutionary. That will.
Shit's got to change.
That will.
If soda can get this much better.
We do not have to live under the oppressive boot heel.
What is up
Coca-Cola.
with that? Back to the citrus bit. I don't know. Again, I don't even know how the mountain's involved.
No, I don't think this is one of those. Because if their brand was something like Fruit of the Loom, and then you were like, well, it's citrus flavor, then you could, your mind could play with it more. But Mountain Dew, it's not possible. So just like the sort of unnatural color scheme they've got going, it's got to be some unnatural freak GMO fruit.
I thought they also called it something else originally and then changed it to Mountain Dew.
That we might have to follow up on that. I was not aware.
We'll have to follow up on that. We actually have a follow-up from last episode. We may as well do now.
True.
We were talking about headless chicken last episode. I way overshot the estimate on how much longer he lived. But how much longer he lived after being beheaded is still a lot longer than you'd think. Mike the Headless Chicken.
Yeah.
18 months.
Jesus Christ.
Without a head. Before choking to death in a hotel in like Mobile, Alabama, or some really depressing.
So he didn't even die of natural causes?
Yeah, he choked to death.
Not having a head was not like a fundamental component of his dying.
He choked to death. Okay, well, we're just going to go to the page now at this point. So he, I'll just read. Feel free to interject. Mike the Headless Chicken. Oh, I'm on airplane mode. Mike the Headless Chicken lived on a farm, and the owner's wife was like, hey, I want chicken for dinner. Sir, why not go get one? So the guy went outside, and he cut the chicken's head off, but he missed the jugular vein and, like, part of the ear, which I guess, I mean, clearly some of the brainstem had to survive. Otherwise, I don't know how this chicken lives. But anyway, the chicken could still, like, walk, like, it was walking around and could balance and was trying to peck and stuff, was still being a regular chicken. And he's like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to take care of it now. And so he started feeding it water, milk, and bits of corn. Like he'd feed it with an eyedropper, like down its throat. So then he started taking it on tour. People would pay what is now $4 a person to see Mike the Headless Chicken and the two-headed baby. So between the two of them, there was enough heads for everybody to go around.
I like that it averaged out.
Yeah, but Mike did not have a head. I also think, I know that chickens are not really known for being thoughtful, but what the fuck did Mike think? First he sees a farmer coming at him with a hatchet, thinking he's getting whacked.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, lights out, dude. It's dark.
Yeah, but now I'm getting...
And I'm still walking around. Am I in heaven or is this hell?
It's, well, the corn kernels being eyedropper down the throat hole definitely feels like purgatory approaching
exactly.
hell.
Purgatory, at least.
Yeah. I think it's odd that they were like, well, this guy survived the axe blow. Instead of killing him, let's kill another one of the perfectly... They still had to make dinner, right?
Yeah.
So they just go maim another guy.
Yeah. It seems like...
Sorry, Mike, but fuck you. You already don't have a head now.
Exactly. It seems like the better thing to do is finish the job. Yeah. It seems like it might be torturous to... It would be pretty fascinating. I kind of see it from that. I'm not saying I would ever do this, but I see it being like, I wonder how long this could go for.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to consider also that back then they had like 3 channels, you know. The entertainment options were really limited.
Watch the Headless Chicken? Let's see what Mike's up to.
Yeah. Well, I was busy whittling, turning a big stick into a little stick. So sure, that sounds like an improvement.
They took him on tour, going,
like he's an opening act for the Stones or something.
Mike was valued at about $140,000 when he died, and yeah, they were in a hotel room, and they had left their eyedroppers at the circus, so Mike got a fluid backup they couldn't clear overnight and choked to death. 18 months without a head.
Yeah.
How long do you think you could go without a head before you would do something?
Couple weeks.
Can't even hear.
Oh, you mean it theoretically. I was saying literally, but I could do a couple weeks. I do think that if your existence relies strictly on an eyedropper, it's time to go.
Yeah, stop eyedropping me, man. But how can you communicate that, you know?
No, I mean, you couldn't communicate that I don't want to die by axe blow. And now you don't even have a head.
Yeah.
So you're straight fucked. Okay, it does look like Mountain Dew was originally named Mountain Dew, but
Okay.
it has been stylized to Mitten Dew, which is more...
Okay, inspired by the southern slang term for homemade moonshine, which is still not citrus.
No, far from. Made from grain or... like cereal. Like cereal grains. There was one other addendum that, or sort of follow-up we wanted to do on the man with the vest. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. The man with the explosive vest, that apparently my cousin Tyler texted in, says that was an attempt to get a better image of the explosive device for the emergency responders or whatever. So they could see if it was, a bunch of hot dogs tied to his waist.
Well, the guy in the picture loved his job. Whatever, he loved every second of it.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely was like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to have a good time with it. Yeah. Okay. Did we... Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. I realize after caffeine sensitivity, we have mascots.
Yeah, I was at the Kraken game a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And
yeah, you saw Bowie's weird ass?
Yeah, they were doing like a mascot fight. They had like a bunch of different
Bowie loses.
random mascots. One of them was like the Trailblazers mascot.
Like non-union? Like scab mascots? Like they don't even play for a team?
That's kind of... Well, no, yeah. Anyway, this is kind of what brought it up. You can just rent the mascot suit and hire a guy to go be a mascot, which is a whole thing. I started thinking about, like, who is the guy that's a mascot? And I remembered that my Spanish teacher in high school was dating one of the Mariner Moose.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, there's 3 Mariners Moose.
Yeah.
They all have to be there on game day at the same time. But they have to like coordinate not being seen at the same time.
Oh, I figured it was like off days.
Which is hilarious to me. And at one point he broke his ankle. Like,
so you're down to you're down to 2 Meese.
Exactly.
See, I would be really... That's like a freaky sort of Jason Voorhees type, like, we ran away and the moose was behind us and now he's in front of us again.
Yeah.
We shot the moose with a gun and he fell off the dock. And
why is it
he's
that
back?
The moose could floss before, but he can't floss now?
Just like notably different sizes and like dance skills to the different moose.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was thinking. Like, the Mariners moose is one size, so like you're looking for a very small group of people to do this job. They have to be a specific size. They have to want to be a fucking mascot, which just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have to have some level of athletic ability.
Oh, for sure. You can't. Have you ever seen like an athletic mime? No. You need fucking chops to do that job.
Dude, the other thing is, I remember like going to Sonics games and Squatch would like come up behind you and he'd like stand on your seat and like be clapping and trying to get people into stuff. And I'm like, there's no way you can see well. I am like really careful with my footing if I'm carrying a Costco box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want one wrong step, I'm going down. And this guy has barely any vision. And he's running around on top of chairs.
Yeah, my spatial awareness when completely unfettered by a mascot outfit. Also, now I'm curious, is everyone doing that? Because 3 moose... It's like, okay, 3 moose are scary in real life, but all right. But like 3 Philly fanatics, call the fucking police. Like, where's the ATF?
Really, any Philly mascot.
Oh, for sure. Gritty is absolutely okay. Gritty is going.
Who do you get to play Gritty?
Somebody whose history reads scores wounded.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least schizophrenic, minimum schizophrenic. He is a mentally disturbed individual, Gritty.
Yeah. He does look like he's going to fuck up the kid's birthday party. Like, if you hired him, it's like, Gritty's here, and it's like, oh, honey, I think we made a mistake. Too late!
Yeah, you know who you hired.
I already got the deposit.
And it's gone.
Yeah, and you know he didn't spend that money.
I spent it on all the vodka I drank before I came here.
I was gonna say, I just picture Gritty lighting it on fire like he's a fucking Joker.
Yeah.
Chris, I know we've got headlines coming up. Do we want to jump into headlines?
Oh, I don't care. What do you want to do?
Well, I wanted to ask. I do want to talk about this candy question. This favorite and least favorite old school candy. But then, yes, I would like to do headlines.
Okay. What is your favorite old school candy?
Okay, so I've got there are a few I actually like here. I like the Bit of Honey. Bit of Honey's old enough, right? That's got to be old enough.
I don't even know what it is, so I'm going to say yes.
It's like a Tootsie Roll, but it tastes more on like the
yeah.
toffee spectrum, I guess I would say.
Tootsie Roll's old school. That's another one I like.
Yeah, Tootsie Roll solid for sure. And then, I've told you, I like Whoppers, which I totally understand why people do not
Whoppers
like
are
Whoppers.
Good. Whoppers are good.
Yeah, those little guys.
I think two of my favorites are probably going to be two of your least favorites.
Are you coming at me with like Necco wafers or something?
I like Circus Peanuts.
Oh, sir, I don't have a problem.
I
with
don't
Circus
get them
Peanuts.
all the time. I actually can't even tell you what fucking flavor that is, but I like it.
It's candy flavor.
Yeah, tastes like candy to me, baby. Good enough.
I don't have a problem with Circus Peanuts. I don't seek
And
them out.
I think I've mentioned candy corn before, which I'm not sure if that's an old school candy, but it seems old.
I think that's an old
Because
school
again,
candy.
what flavor is this?
And who makes it?
Candy baby.
If I don't know your brand, like where it seems like you predate time and space somehow, yeah, that's.
Oh, you're saying they make them? They aren't just in a field someplace?
Candy corn, I don't love it, but it's not. I don't have it on my shit list. I'll say that. Circus Peanuts, totally fine with. The one I really don't like, Necco wafers, huge bummer. Huge bummer. Just sidewalk chalk that they've lopped up
Yeah.
and they've
I
mismatched.
feel that way about Smarties.
Smarties are real close.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Smarties have like this much more sugar, and they didn't shape them like a communion wafer, which I feel like also helps it along somehow.
Right.
But yeah, not great. Like, and Smarties.
Oh, I see what I was thinking. Necco wafer. You mean Tums?
Yeah, it's calcium carbonate. Yeah. Speaking of things that don't look like anybody made it, like they just emerged somewhere.
Calcium deposits.
Exactly. Yeah, from a fucking mountain. This is where the Mountain Dew's
Yeah, it's
from,
closer to
apparently.
Mountain
This
Dew.
is the runoff. Yeah, that'd be my least favorite, though. But there are some bad ones. At Ken's Market, where I used to work, we had so many weird old fucking candies, like Peanut Butter Mountain. And, you're like,
Okay.
yeah, and that sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
And then you get into it, and you're like, oh, no, this is...
Peanut butter's not supposed to be this hard.
this is far more sinister.
Yeah. I think Reese's Cups, they're fucking ancient, right?
That's true. I do think of those as more like because they've survived long enough and they like still get advertised and stuff. There's something about it because
Yeah,
you're
who's
right.
buying a Charleston Chew or whatever?
Great example.
Or-
And speaking of things that don't get advertised, they have not run an ad in 100 fucking years.
I think they made them all in 1940 and they're still trying to sell them. It's just the same box sitting in the back of
frozen
Tom
Charleston
Thumb.
Chew supply. I do
Frozen.
like them.
No.
It's I will say Charleston Chew is not my favorite, but again, not the worst of the old candy, like Big Hunk or the Rocky Road.
I think I've eaten one in my life and I was like, yeah, I don't need to do that.
It does have a really weird consistency.
Yeah.
It does have like a really soft, chewy. Yeah, you're not ready for it. Chris, should we do headlines?
Yeah, Cole, you're gonna love this one. This isn't even as funny of a headline so much as soon as I read this, I thought of you. Indignant shopper in China makes Louis Vuitton staff count $110,000 in cash for 2 hours, then leaves.
With the cash?
Yeah, didn't buy anything.
Wait, so this was just like his way of getting like people to count money for him?
So it was some fine woman in China went into Louis Vuitton store, and she did not like how she was treated. She was not offered a beverage. They were showing her old stock, none of the new stuff. And what's that movie where somebody does this? They redo it in The Office. Anyway, she's basically like, well, fuck you guys. You don't think I have the money to be in here? She came back.
the pretty woman.
Yeah, there we go. Pretty woman. Yeah. She comes back a couple weeks later with what amounts to $110,000 US and makes them count it all. Presumably under the guise that she's buying something. And then takes all the money and leaves.
I just don't have the energy for that kind of pettiness. And that's the type of thing, too, where I'm always like, yeah, does this rich person actually have a job?
Oh, definitely has nothing to do. I think it says she came back 6 weeks later, so she was stewing for 6 weeks about that. You don't think I'm rich? Well, I'll show you.
See, anytime my dad felt wronged, he just always jumped to threatening to firebomb the facility. He had absolutely no...
Didn't your dad threaten to set someone on fire one time?
Wouldn't surprise... I don't know if... that doesn't immediately ring a bell, but it's certainly not impossible.
I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Firebombing the building, though, is certainly... because it's almost a more frightening threat, because it does sound more indiscriminate.
You have to believe anybody who goes straight to fire.
For sure. Especially the sort of anger level that he would immediately rise to. Like I don't.
Straight to 10.
Apologies if I've already told this story on the show, but Mike grew weed when we were in high school. Not even just forever, but also when we were in high school, and he'd have Clay and like the neighborhood kids trim the weed and pay them in weed. So great economy. It's like when you have the mine workers and you pay them in like mine bucks that they have to spend at the mine store. Because instead of paying them with cash, you pay them in hash and goo balls. So my dad had my friend or Clay and his friend trim weed on a Sunday night. Clay was like, "We're gonna stink like weed, and tomorrow's a school day. And it's gonna be a whole thing." And Mike's like, "Well, we gotta trim it." So they trim it, and Clay goes to school, and of course he smells like weed. So they bring him into the office. He's also high, but that's separate from the...
Yeah.
Smelling like weed has nothing to do with the now being high. So they called my dad at work, and they're like, "Yeah, so your son smells like weed?" "Yeah, he's allowed to smell like weed." "I got a fucking green card." So are you saying... Do I need to repeat that?
Yeah. So you're not worried about this, or?
I'm going to go back to fucking work if you're done wasting my fucking time. So then the principal just hangs up, and Clay's just like, "Can I go to..." So anyways, we were allowed to smell like weed for high school. But yeah, that's the sort of, you got to come at people sometimes with aggression. Like if somebody shows up at a store at 9:58 and it closes at 10, they're like, "Can I come in?" And then you're like, "No.
I'm going to set you on fire.
You can come in." Threats of violence.
So you're saying this woman was not direct enough.
Exactly.
Too passive aggressive.
Step it up a notch.
We need more aggressive.
Kick it up a notch.
Set him on fire.
Ask questions later.
Yeah. Man forgets breakup after having a concussion and marries ex-girlfriend 7 months later.
So did he break up with her then?
I'll read it to you. It's not super clear. Jenna and Mitchell, Brothersons. They're the Brothersons now. The two of them together. Love story. Didn't even hyphenate it. You'd think the breakup might have brought a hyphenated last name at minimum. Love story took a unique turn after a breakup and a concussion. In February 2020, Jenna ended their relationship, but the next day, Mitchell suffered a severe ski accident. Who skis and gets in ski accidents? Isn't that how Sonny... What?
Yeah, that's totally how
what
Sonny
Bono... What are we doing?
Also, Kennedy died that way.
That's
for
crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
I can't even...
That's a moneyed activity. That's right. Like you died choking on your caviar spoon. That's like, it can't happen to me.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been me.
Oh, you died falling off your yacht. That's crazy. Not to make fun of anybody's death.
No, catch me dying at the food bank, buddy.
Thinking they were still together, Mitchell kept reaching out, and his kindness made Jenna realize she wanted him back. When she asked to rekindle the relationship, Mitchell, unaware of the breakup, found it funny and happily continued dating her. Oh shit, we broke up? That's pretty... It must not have been that crazy.
No.
Or she was like, "Well, I already told him that I cheated. I don't need to tell him again."
Yeah, all past sins are forgiven.
Yeah, whether he remembers it or not.
Either it wasn't that crazy or it was a pretty crazy concussion. Yeah. A pretty rad, like Antonio Brown, Vontaze Burfict type.
Like, yeah, except it was the opposite. Maybe he went from being a dick to like being really nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a sort. Yeah, instead of
Because Antonio Brown was so cool before his brain got destroyed.
yeah, he was pretty cool.
And now he's just the biggest asshole ever.
And doing weird, pulling his penis out at the hotel hot tub.
Well, yeah.
That's just lacking in manners.
Don't do it when people are around.
Yeah.
Come on.
You can't fuck the Jets just because you were on the Steelers. Okay, that's not a rule.
Oh, that reminds me. Do you know who Reese McGuire is?
Mm-mm.
Do you remember that whole thing? Bonus headline, except for it's not a headline. It's just a news story from several years ago, like all the rest of these. Reese McGuire, at the time, I think, played for the Blue Jays. He's a catcher, and he got arrested because he was found masturbating in a parking lot.
Damn. You gotta go. You gotta go.
Right? How do you? I mean, where's the awareness?
I can barely beat it in the shower. Like,
'Cause
I need proper circuit. You're in public with like a breeze.
Definitely not standing up.
Yeah, are you nuts?
Yeah, with a breeze. Yeah, the wind's throwing off the tempo. But some woman and her daughter like walked past the car and saw him, which I don't understand. Where's the awareness? Because presumably, since you're doing it in public, you're kind of getting off to the fact that it's in public. What? Pay attention.
Yeah. Well, but is that maybe you want to get caught? As a non-public jack-off guy.
Right, yeah, I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, you got to put your mind in the...
Yeah,
I'm a character act.
I'm a big with the sound off behind a locked door type of guy myself. But anyway, when the Blue Jays came to town, this is the first time I ever heckled somebody. When he came up to bat, I was like, "Crank it, Reese!" And I think he didn't get it until he swung and missed at a pitch. And I was like, "Oh, don't get too excited." And then he kind of gave me a look, and I kept saying, "Crank it, Reese." I was drunk. I mean, I was reusing the line. It's garbage. I know.
But also, I mean, you kind of the bit's working.
Yeah.
And also,
by the third time I did it, his teammates were laughing at him. So
the bit is working.
Yeah.
And also, you're the only guy to ever, like, if you get a DUI, that's a shitty thing to do. I'm not justifying it. But in terms of heckling, like, my creativity there is probably a bit limited. Like,
right.
You and 1,000 other dumbass athletes have
don't
done
be
this.
an idiot. Don't do something really creepy if you don't.
Yeah, cranking it on the street, that, like, dude, there's not a big...
I think we've established this on the show. I'm very pro cranking it.
Yeah, in the right time and place.
That's not okay. That is not okay. On a boat somewhere, middle ocean, maybe you
like
can get your rocks off that way.
It's like the Coney 2012 jacking off on the street corner.
I forgot about that whole thing. Jesus.
See, that's like the only other guy I can think of. I have to go outside of sports to find another guy to compare you to.
Pee Wee Herman.
True.
Alleged.
Did nothing wrong.
Also, we've talked about this before.
That's in a movie theater. I know, we should have talked about it when I had the shirt on last week, but...
Well, and it was in a porno theater, too.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
We're all
really
mixed company here.
policing this.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I understand.
The floors are sticky in a normal movie theater.
I understand we're not supposed to be smoking inside, but what about in the cigarette store where everyone is already smoking? You know what I mean? Like, can that be
Or
cool?
like in a bar in Wisconsin that already smells like cigarettes.
It's because no matter how many years it's illegal, they can't purge. It's like Beth's Cafe, dude. That restaurant used to have a single non-smoking table, hilariously located in the center of the restaurant. There's no fucking reprieve. Like those off yellow walls, dude, that is white paint with just years of nicotine. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think smoking inside is gross, but if you're going to have an establishment and that's what you're going to do, that is so funny to put the one non-smoking table
absolutely.
in the middle of the restaurant.
Almost sinister. Like, absolutely, you're trying to tell somebody to fuck off.
That's one of those things you walk in and you know you're not welcome.
Well, and in the center, too, it's an oddly sort of shaped place. That's also where the restrooms are. Like, they're kind of located because they have this little arcade bathroom. Like, it's got like 3 pinball machines. It's tiny, but that's where it is. It's sort of like a bar setup, and all the tables are around. So the kitchen where the line cooks are is also in the center. So all the stuff's in the center while all the tables are on the outside, except for one table that's over by the fucking bathrooms, and the pinball, it's right in the middle, and that was the one non-smoking.
Yeah, you don't want to smell cigarettes? Well, you might smell shit.
It's
Enjoy.
And everybody that's been smoking is walking past you to play pinball and shit. Like, it's just, you gotta love it.
All right. Men lost at sea for 29 days say it was, quote, a nice break from reality.
Honestly, never more than now have I felt of a kinship with these people.
So this is funny. These two guys set off. I have to read this because there's a lot in here I want to talk about. In 2020, 2 men from the Solomon Islands found themselves lost at sea for nearly a month, but returned with an unexpectedly positive outlook on their ordeal. Live Nanjikana and his friend Junior Coloni set out from Mono Island equipped with a small motorboat and a sack of oranges. That's all. Which I love. Planning to travel 200 kilometers to Noro on New Georgia Island, a route they'd navigated before. However, rough water disrupted their journey, disabling their navigational system and blowing them off course. Their rudderless vessel guys, oranges and a rudderless vessel.
The Solomon Islands. You're so isolated.
Yeah, they were not prepared. Anyway, this happened during COVID, and COVID started when they were there, so they had no fucking clue. Imagine we thought Castaway was crazy. He comes back, he's like, the Titans were in the fucking Super Bowl? I didn't know Nashville even had a team. Imagine coming back and they're like, hey, there's this pandemic happening. If you get within 6 feet of anybody, you're going to die. Just heads up.
Again,
I'd be like, put me back on the island.
Yeah, that is again making the raft sound more refreshing.
Yeah. Get me some more oranges. I'm out of here.
Fire it up.
I love that it was just a sack of oranges for their trip.
How many? Like, what's the appropriate amount for a fucking 130-mile trip or whatever that was?
I'm a 2 orange day guy myself.
Yeah, I smashed like 3 of those little tangerine. I mean, yeah, I got a couple of them down yesterday, but I guess sack.
That's all you need.
Sack just sounds all right.
Ill prepared. Ill-prepared.
Like,
it makes me think, like, were they even wearing shirts? Like, that's the type of not prepared enough. It seems like.
Yeah. It's like, what if we something happens and we're, lost at sea? Like, grab more oranges.
29 days. It must have been enough oranges.
That's no, that's what they're eating like fucking turtles out of the ocean and shit at that point.
Oh,
it's getting weird out there.
Turtles. I mean, the plastic bags are enough. Turtles. Leave them alone.
Just eat the seagulls. We don't care about
this one's not super funny so much as I want to talk about the premise. American YouTuber arrested after trying to give isolated tribe Diet Coke. Yeah. I think it's funny. I mean, it's not funny.
You're an idiot. Not
exactly.
You,
it's humorous to me anytime somebody's like, that tribe hasn't like talked to anybody in like forever.
Yeah.
I want to see if they'll eat a cheeseburger.
Yeah, because normally you would think of like that guy that died on North Sentinel Island trying to, convert people to Christianity. Like that's the sort of.
Oh my God! Leave them alone with the Christian. Fuck off.
Yeah, if those people are that far removed from 700 Club, let them live out their days in peace.
God, that shit makes me so annoyed when people come soliciting religion. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, these people don't have to know who Jesus or like fucking Gal Gadot is. Just leave them alone.
I always thought it was pretty harmless when I heard stuff like that because I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I guess you just want to see like a tribe. But then in this article I read something that I literally had never thought of, and it made me feel really dumb. These people do not have the same antibodies we have.
Not at
like
all.
We could easily. Polio or give them something crazy that could just wipe out I see why it's illegal to not contact them.
Yeah.
Also, have you ever seen like those pictures of like airplanes people have flown over those tribes like trying to take pictures and there's just like arrows in the bottom?
Yeah, they don't want to. Yeah, leave them alone.
Yeah, leave them alone. Sure. Yeah. They don't need to see Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't care.
But what about the soup Nazi? Yeah. Like, they don't even have soup, dude. Would you calm down?
Yeah, we're so far beyond. We could never make them understand New York City. Even.
Yeah, you are going to have to explain both Judaism and there's so many layers to this onion for these folks. This is stupid.
You go back to this island, they're like, what's the deal with electricity?
They're doing like who's on first bits. Like, oh my god,
That's pretty advanced.
they've
at
developed.
that point. It's been hundreds of years of them. Yeah, these they even understand 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Punchline, set up, and punch.
They've got their own Charlie Sheen and shit. Who the fuck is this guy?
That would be funny that if all things reset, comedy would still come back to Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, exactly. So Gary Busey's here. Like, okay, I guess even.
No, that's actually Gary Busey. If you were wondering where he's been.
Gary Busey is the one guy. We're reading his Wikipedia page. It's like, yeah, he had a traumatic brain injury on a motorcycle. You don't say. Could have never put that together myself.
Man like sausage. The other thing I don't get, Diet Coke.
Diet Coke is a weird choice for sure.
They certainly don't understand calories, so you don't even need to start there. Bring them the good stuff.
Yeah. Why
Coke
are you...
Zero, obviously, I'm talking about.
Well, also, I would think that cane sugar is probably safer for, well, really anybody than like aspartame or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
If it's me,
Mountain Dew.
I know you want to go back in time and give a present. If I can't potentially kill all these people with my germs and stuff, if I could find a way, like, I'd give them a fucking beer, man. I just want to see what they. I could ruin some lives there, actually.
True.
And well, they could never get it again.
They have an ability to. Well, that's when you learn to brew.
That's when they say, "Fuck this island." There's clearly better stuff out there.
Yeah, I would worry about that too if you gave them like barbecue. Or like taco truck tacos. They'd be like, man, this is... You guys have access to this, like, regularly?
Right.
This is nuts.
I see why you're overweight.
Yeah. All right. That was pretty good headlines.
Yeah, that was... That last one wound up being more fun than I thought that it might be. I thought that could potentially be a bummer, but we are moving on. So this one is going to be a new segment... We'll come up with a better name. I literally thought of this today. We're calling it Origins, like the origin of where something came from. This one
well, kind of like etymology.
is the Guinness Book of World Records. Do you know where that came from? Why that exists?
I might know that one, but it might be one of those things where it's like apocryphal.
Well, the fine folks at the Guinness Brewing Company made the Guinness Book of World Records in order to settle bar fights.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
They wanted people to stop arguing and just... I also like that it's just records. That's all people were arguing about at bars, but not politics or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not sports, nothing like that.
And enough, obviously, that it sold enough copies.
There's no way somebody ate more than 3 watches. There's simply no way.
They don't call him 6-Watch Susie for nothing, buddy.
Tallest dog in the world, bullshit.
It's like in Cool Hand Luke where he goes, I could eat 50 hard-boiled eggs. Oh, you motherfucker, you lying son of a bitch. But, yeah, in this case, you actually have the 828 hard-boiled eggs in 8 minutes or whatever ridiculous thing.
I like that that's the origin of the only book I ever got at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Okay. Shout out to Captain Underpants and Dav Pilkey. Okay.
Right. But once people told me I was too old for Boxcar Children, I was like, okay, fuck books. Yeah. I'm getting the Guinness book. That's the only one. Give me that sweet Tiger Woods poster. I'm out of here.
Scholastic Book Fair.
Send my mom the tab.
As a kid with Mike Finch and his dad, Scholastic Book Fair was always a complete mystery to me. Like, every time it happened, I was just, oh, shit, this is happening again. I got no money, but...
I got to go look at all these things I can't get.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's rough.
Oh, no, we didn't... I had plenty of books and stuff, so it wasn't a big deal. I mean, I still got the ideas. I'll just wander around and figure out what the fuck they're selling these days. I'm just window shopping in there.
Okay. We have an actual etymology. This one is kind of cute. April Fool's Day. Do you know why it's called April Fool's Day?
I do not know.
Also known as my birthday. It's called April Fool's Day because Pope Gregory, blah, whatever, the 8th or something. Fuck, who cares? It's a pope.
Pope Gregory. Get a stage name, bro. Fuck.
Okay, Pope Michael Jackson, the 8th.
Some of these people are named like fucking Pius and shit.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Gregory.
Yeah, Gregory, yeah.
Shit.
That's a good point. He goes by Greg. He changed New Year's Day from what was then April 1st to January 1st. And there was a group of people who continued to celebrate the new year on April 1st, and they were referred to as fools. So April Fool's Day.
So April being the new year, is that why...
That means I'm a New Year's baby.
Is that why, like, October... Well, no, that number wouldn't be right. But, like, October, Oct is, like, 8. But it's the 10th month. What the fuck? Or November. Is that 9? It's 11. December, like, Deca, 10. That's 12. Fuck!
God damn it.
Son of a bitch. No, I'm sure that there's, like, old Gregorian calendar rule for that. But.
Yeah, well... I'm actually going to talk more about this later because I want to talk about... We don't have a When in Rome for this week, but I'm going to talk about Commodus in the future, who was the emperor who was the son of Marcus Aurelius, who's probably the best, certainly the coolest emperor in Roman history. Also a philosopher. They still teach some of his writings, which I do recommend, his meditations. Anyway, Commodus... Huge dipshit, but one really funny thing he did was he changed all the currency to have his face on it, and also changed the name of all the months to be his name.
This is like a George Foreman thing, naming his fucking kids.
Right, they're all George. Yeah, so anyway, I think that's funny. Maybe we should have gone back to that.
I would love to be even more confused.
To be fair, Julius Caesar also named several months after his self, but at least he... also invented the calendar we still fucking use.
Yeah, that's where you're like July.
And he kept it to 2. July and August.
Yeah.
Julius and Augustus. So
yeah, and I do think that that's where, because of that, that's what pushed the October, November, December into months 10, 11, 12. Not the...
Speaking of, it's coming up. We don't still use Caesar's exact calendar, but did you know that the date they decide Easter is on is based off of his original calendar?
I did not know that. It's definitely seems stupid and ancient.
Yeah.
No fucking idea when it is any time.
Yeah. Caesar's another person we'll talk about. I know that's kind of a divisive subject considering he was a dictator and all. But in terms of dictators, pretty cool one.
Every Roman pro-slave. You know, you gotta...
You can only be so cool.
It's gotta all be cushioned within the whole lot of slaves thing.
He invented a lot of stuff we still use today, though, so we'll talk about that at some point. But the next thing we have, Gucci or greasy, pickles.
Well, this is interesting. We talked about pickles a lot with our guest Justin when he was on. I love pickles, but I don't go for sweet pickles. That is just a different realm of pickle. Also, one opinion on pickles I find valid. My brother likes pickles, but will not eat any fast food pickles or any, because they're just like the shitty, slimy.
Right.
He's like, he's got a problem with hot pickles. He's like, throw a cold pickle on the burger, you know, but just the nature of fast food, it like doesn't work that way. But
we got to make it fast, so some steps have got to be cut.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I just think the way they make them too, like with the pre-slicing and everything, they're like almost like over-brined. Like also, they don't have a lot of crunch left.
If they didn't heat up the pickle, how would they get all the disease off of it from leaving it out?
That's exactly.
I mean, come on.
Why do you think we're serving boiling coffee? It's not because we forgot. It's because we're really worried about what is in the coffee. We got to burn all the mold off the top.
So
I'm gonna say Gucci, but there's obviously some circumstances.
This is another one of those ones where I don't love pickles. I like them. I like them on a burger, especially. My favorite are the little crunchy guys.
Oh yeah, the gherkins.
Mm-hmm. Those are my favorite. But I have to say, I just don't think it's right what we've done to the poor innocent cute. If you look,
the bastardization.
Look at a pickle, and tell me that. It just doesn't look like it's doing okay.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? If you're telling me, like, my mom loves pickles. She drinks the fluid out of the jar, which is insane to me. That's the grossest thing I've ever seen. She fucking chugs it. Like a kid getting water after playing really hard. Like, it's like, take a breath. You know what I mean?
You got, like, the double pickle juice lines running down the...
She can't get enough of it. If she was in a vat of it, she could drink her way out. But to me, I'm like, if vinegar's doing that,
What's it doing to the rest?
Yeah, like that's. I don't know if that's okay. That seems wrong. Like it seems like it should still look like a cucumber.
Yeah, I mean they get they take on that more palish color to them. They do. I will say that at the traditional Jewish delis in New York, from what I understand, you can get the full pickle, or they have what they call like half pickle, which just hasn't brined as long. And those ones are a lot more. They retain a lot more like cucumber look. They don't get nearly as like pale looking
Bumpy
because they're only in it for a week compared to the other ones being in there for 3-4 weeks or whatever. So it's not as crazy. On the pickle topic, have you ever seen Kool-Aid pickles?
What?
It's a Southern thing. I've never had one.
That is the worst sounding thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, you do. You throw. I mean, I could see where it works, but I haven't had the opportunity.
Cucumber and Kool-Aid?
No. So you take pickles that are already pickles, so it gets like a sweet and sour deal. You put that into some Kool-Aid.
Okay, sweet and sour pickles. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's obviously when you say Kool-Aid pickle and you see them and it's like red. You're like, whoa, that is a little bit jarring. Yeah. But I could see like where that works, kind of like a pickled red onion that's sweet, where you're like, oh yeah, the sweet and the sour. But I've never had one myself, so
I just found out what sauerkraut was.
A lot of fucking cabbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandma would make it from scratch when we were kids, and it was the most salt I've ever seen put into a dish by a margin.
This is controversial. I know I've upset my friends and family in the Midwest with this take before. I think sauerkraut's gross. Put regular cabbage on it. Regular cabbage is good.
I will say I like sauerkraut in certain contexts, but there's a lot of, just like any food really, but there's a lot of bad sauerkraut. There's a lot of this like prepackaged junk shit that's just it's got no life left in it. Kind of like the pickles we were talking about with like the ones my brother doesn't like. They got no retention, there's nothing left there. They've just been beaten down.
I'm also talking about this like I'm not the type of person who eats salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah.
Gucci or greasy salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, I love them. I love them. But then they start to hurt me at a certain point. Like the Tim's Cascade salt and vinegar. It's like, oh, my mouth hurts.
Right. If anything should have a dosage, it should be the salt and vinegar. Like you can only send me this big of a bag.
Right. Yeah. That's a dangerous game.
There's an additional Gucci or greasy here.
Okay.
This one's yours. You wrote this, but Gucci or greasy, only ordering pickles and Diet Coke from Jimmy John's for delivery. Hey, don't offer it if you're not going to do it. So Gucci.
Clearly, I was trying to think of the greasiest thing that somebody could do. Those pickles are also fucking huge. Those are like the no bullshit. Again, they're like the Jewish deli pickles. Right. They're not.
Do you want to cut into fourths? I can't deep throat that, so yes.
Yeah, you're gonna so I don't have to unhinge my jaw to eat a pickle today. All right, that one was pretty straightforward. We can move on from that.
Let's do This Week in History. We can do our additional Wikipedia next time.
Yeah, that works for me.
I also didn't get a chance to look at it, so
that works for me. And I did look at it. I'm prepared for next time. Okay, This Week in History. April 16th is the date. So going back to April 9th. 1338. Despite being outnumbered by a ratio of 16-1, forces of the old Swiss Confederacy are victorious over the Archduchy of Austria in the Battle of Naples. What is your all-time favorite upset? Can be military, can be sports. Can be a career comeback, like who saw Santana coming back in the 90s, Big upset.
Talking about Jim Edmonds on the Brewers? Shit, man. Give me a second. You have one?
I can tell you my all-time favorite very quickly.
Giants beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's mine.
Ooh, that's a very good one. That's a very good one. My all-time favorite was the Detroit Pistons beating the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, that one. Because I had special, just being a Sonics fan as a kid, and Shaq and Kobe constantly fucking us up. I was very excited to see that result. And even though I don't know if any team sport result could be more shocking than the Giants winning, like you're saying, I would say the Pistons winning that finals is probably the best finals upset of our lifetimes.
Right.
That was definitely, I can't think of another. I mean, the Mavericks beating the Heat in 2011 was really fucking sick. Finally getting Dirk one.
Yeah.
But that felt more possible than
Right.
Detroit beating that crazy fucking team. Especially because Detroit had nobody. It's like Dallas has Dirk. Anything's possible. Detroit had Ben Wallace putting up 9 points a game.
Ben Wallace is so cool.
I know.
The barely double guy, 10 and 10.
Yeah. And then, you got Rip Hamilton and yeah. That's my number one. Yeah, exactly. Great players, but not like a 28 point a night kind of a guy. So that's my number one. But yeah, I can't think of one in like the fight game or anything that makes me more happy than that one. There've been some cool ones, but
I feel like there's got to be. You know what? I really like seeing the Red Sox win that first World Series after being cursed forever. And as a baseball fan, I hate the fucking Cubs, and I wanted that curse to last forever. But it was also kind of like, okay, well, curses have to end. If their curse can end, maybe mine can.
I found out recently, and I didn't look up the number one, which is a fuck up on my part, but that the Cubs World Series parade was like the second largest peacetime gathering in the history of America.
Fuck off. Peacetime. That sounds like a terrorist attack to me. Fucking Cubs fans.
You're just trying to manifest something against your hated rivals.
God, I hate them.
On that topic, April 10th, 1971. And
on the topic of terrorist attacks?
Well, on the topic of, hate
Cubs
and
are
stuff in
terrorists.
sports. Yeah,
Okay.
Right. In an attempt to thaw relations with the United States, China hosts the U.S. table tennis team for a week-long visit. What sport or food would you choose if you needed to win over foreign diplomats?
Food, definitely Panda Express. Hey, look what we've done to your cuisine.
It's super greens. Get that shit out of my face.
We don't even make orange chicken. What is orange chicken? Get a load of this.
Are you familiar with sugar meat?
Breaded sugar meat.
Mm-hmm.
Sport. We've already nailed it with baseball. It's baseball. They play baseball everywhere.
They do. I mean, we now... See, this is the interesting thing. Because China beat our fucking ass at ping pong, as they still do, but back then especially, we had no fucking shot. So China's the one hosting it, and they come over. Let us destroy you at the thing we're really good at. So in that spirit, it makes me want to choose American football. Like, just 'cause
Yeah. They would quit after the kick return.
yeah, if the purpose is to just be a dick
Yeah.
and show. But baseball's a way better one. Like, Japan's won the World Baseball Classic 3 times. We've had how many phenomenal, both Japanese and, really everywhere in the Caribbean.
Think of any Chinese players for some reason.
They've had great Little League, but I
Yeah,
don't think
feel
that
like
they've had
all
the
Asian
same.
players have been primarily Japan, some Korean. I love the Korean.
I bet you'll see some. I have a great league too. Like the KBL is like the third best. I mean, if you're a major leaguer that's maybe struggling in the minor, like I would go play over there. Who was that guy?
Wasn't Miles Michaelis do that?
Michaelis was over there, and wasn't that first baseman you guys had that was pretty good for a little bit?
Oh God.
Hit a bunch of jacks.
Eric Thames.
Yeah, Thames played over in the KBL.
He also went out over there and weirdly put on 50 pounds of muscle, so I'm not sure exactly what happened in the KBL.
Some fucking good Korean steroids, I guess. Okay, I'm going to move on quickly here because I know we've only got like 3 minutes. April 13th, 1976, the U.S. Treasury Department reintroduces the $2 bill as a note on Thomas Jefferson's 233rd birthday as part of the bicentennial. What is the dumbest banknote?
It's not the 2.
Not the 2.
I carry one with me at all times. I have one in my wallet right now.
I have a 2 on me.
I've got a lucky 2 I always take with me. They're all stupid. All the rest of them are fucking stupid. Can we update these, please?
Throwing them all out.
Put somebody new on here.
Okay. I've got a strong.
How's Roosevelt not on one?
Okay, well, I'm not saying like dumb who's on. I'm saying the number, like the $50 bill. Who is this for? Breaking a 50? find somebody with 220s in a tent, dude. You could walk around downtown Seattle for a fucking week before you succeed there. 50's the one. That's mine.
We need new people on them. That's what I think.
Christian Yelich.
Christian Yelich. Yeah, for sure. Oprah.
Okay, last question. We'll wrap it up with this. April 15th, 1955, McDonald's restaurant dates its founding to the opening of a franchise restaurant by Ray Kroc. What's your favorite and least favorite fast food joint?
Okay, I'll say this. I like McDonald's occasionally, and I don't care if it's killing people. Get off their back. Arby's blows. So that's my least favorite. My favorite, I'm going to go regional here. Culver's.
Nice.
For sure. Culver's is my jam. If I've got to go national, I'm probably going Schmickdankadles, dude. I very rarely get fast food, but when I do, it's McDonald's. You know what? Occasionally, I'm surprised by Jay in the Bow. I'm not a big Jack in the Box guy generally. Just really boring branding. Really, that's the problem.
They don't have a signature sandwich.
Yeah.
There's no Whopper here. What's going on?
Katie made me go get like tacos or something. I was like, that's gonna be gross.
You guys sell egg rolls?
I had them and they were amazing.
Fair enough.
So
I'll do mine quick and we'll get out of here. Favorite, Wendy's value menu. They created it. They're still knocking it out. Least favorite, Arby's. It's cliche, but Jesus Christ, guys. Boys. Shut it down.
Also, I'm going to say this before we wrap it up. Both are good, but Taco Time's better than Taco Bell.
Oh, hell yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Second Lunch Podcast. You can see us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X if you want to hear our really weird and random food thoughts. Thank you guys for listening. Jordan, love you all. Bucks and 6.